Ryan Tannehill just made himself public enemy number one with the recent comments that he made saying that it's not his job to mentor young rookie quarterback Malik Willis. And of course, these comments were met with a lot of backlash and criticism from fans, NFL players, former NFL players. Kurt Warner actually took to Twitter in response of these comments and basically said that, hey, if you are a young quarterback that is in search of a mentor, hit me up. I will be more than welcome to give you guys advice to help assist on, getting the most out of your professional football career. Now, I understand where Ryan Tannehill is coming from, and a lot of you guys understand where Ryan Tannehill is coming from. It's just that if you are a Tennessee Titans fan, your mind is taught automatically to think about what's best for the team instead of what's best for the individual player. So everybody's talking about if you're a good teammate, you will help mentor Malik Willis. But not a lot of people are really talking about Ryan Tannehill, because you guys gotta understand something. Like, would you want to mentor your potential successor, the guy who potentially is going to dethrone you, take your job, and force you to find employment elsewhere? I don't think a lot of you guys would be on board with that. Like, if your boss came up to you today at work on this beautiful Friday that I'm recording this and said, hey man, I just recently hired somebody. I need you to train them and mentor them because eventually they're going to end up replacing you and taking your job, and you're going to have to find another job. Like, would you be okay with that? And here's the thing. It's always a split mirror when you look at these things. Because you look at Ryan Tannehill, like, he has to do what's best for him to provide for himself and his family. On the other side, being a good teammate involves helping your teammate whenever they need help, which may involve you having to mentor your potential successor. And that's kind of how it works in sports. Like, whenever you have an aging veteran that gets up there in age, they normally bring in a younger player for that older veteran to teach them, coach them up, mentor them, show them the ropes, show them what it means to be a professional. And then eventually they retire, they move on to the sunset. That guy ends up stepping up, becoming the main guy. And that's how things continue. That's how good teams continue to have a long-standing range of success, because they have kind of like this conveyor belt. Whenever they have an aging veteran, they bring in somebody younger with the same position, let that aging veteran coach him up, then he moves on. So, like, people forget that Tom Brady is somebody who never really wanted to sacrifice snaps to the backup. And a lot of people think that, being a good teammate means that you have to sacrifice certain things. And there are certain things that you don't have to sacrifice. If Ryan Tannehill doesn't want to mentor Malik Willis, he doesn't have to mentor Malik Willis. And I think that a lot of people, aren't really looking at the context of this. Because remember, when Ryan Tannehill was first traded to the Tennessee Titans from the Miami Dolphins, he was a backup quarterback behind Marcus Mariota. And eventually, Marcus Mariota ended up getting benched in replace of Ryan Tannehill. So Ryan Tannehill saw the same way that he got the starting job in Tennessee is the exact same way he can lose the starting job in Tennessee. And that's just the reality of business. And on top of that, you look at everything that Ryan Tannehill talked about after the playoff loss, having to go to therapy, his mental health being, kind of needing work and improvement. So for Ryan Tannehill, he's in a really tough place. Like, the guy is coming off a really tough playoff loss that he took really hard and really affected him on a mental level, not pertaining on the football field, but also in his personal life as well. So for Ryan Tannehill, I understand where he's coming from. Like, the dude kind of sounds a little bit, I don't want to say he sounds upset, but he's not really having a great time right now. Like, you're already experiencing what you had to go through after the playoff loss, trying to bounce back from that, trying to get back into football focus, trying to get your mindset on the upcoming season. And then when it seems like you're almost done moving on from that, Tennessee comes ahead and they just go ahead and draft your potential successor. So for Ryan Tannehill, this isn't easy for him. And I don't think this is ever easy for anybody when anybody sees the replacement. It's like the writing is on the wall for Ryan Tannehill. He knows and we know that his days are numbered. And I don't really think that a lot of people are really taking the time to see things from Ryan Tannehill's perspective, because a lot of people automatically go into this mindset of you got to do what's best for the team, but nobody really thinks about what's best for the player. What's best for Ryan Tannehill? Think about him. This guy's a human being too. I love Malik Willis. I feel like Ryan Tannehill should, want to take him on his wing and mentor him. But at the same time, I also understand that Ryan Tannehill is a guy who wants to stay a starting quarterback in the league and wants to remain the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. So why would he jeopardize that to coach up his successor? Now, you can say, well, JT, there have been countless quarterbacks who have been unselfish and have helped mentor their potential successor, like Alex Smith, allowing Patrick Mahomes to sit watch him for a year, and then eventually Mahomes ended up becoming a really good quarterback. But what about Tom Brady? Because, I never really heard Tom Brady coming out and saying that he was down to mentor people. As a matter of fact, it's widely speculated that Tom Brady played a large part in getting Jimmy Garoppolo shipped out of New England. And the story is that Tom Brady reportedly went up to Robert Kraft and said, hey, it's either me or him. And Robert Kraft picked Tom Brady, and Jimmy Garoppolo ended up getting shipped out to San Francisco. Tom Brady is also a guy who never really wanted to surrender practice snaps to backup quarterbacks. So, you guys got to understand, there has to be a sense of competition. There has to be a sense of competitiveness. And I don't think that Ryan Tannehill is just this trash human being. He's going to help out, Malik Willis. He's going to help him out, show him the ropes, help him out with the playbook, the understanding of the terminology and whatnot. And even this with Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people try to paint Aaron Rodgers out to be this trash human being, this trash teammate, when he's not. If you talk to some of the former players, there's going to be players who didn't like Aaron Rodgers that's going to speak out on him, but there's also players who love Aaron Rodgers, who praise him for his leadership, who praise him for being a great teammate. It's just society. Everybody's not going to like you. So when you look at Aaron Rodgers, he helped out Jordan Love, and a lot of people thought that he was going to be salty about the situation. So, we got to stop trashing these players for actually having, feelings. Okay? Ryan Tannehill should apologize for speaking how he truly feels. It's the truth. It's not his job to mentor Malik Willis. He's not the general manager. He's not the head coach. He's not the owner of the team. He's the quarterback. His job is to get the snap from the center, either hand the football off or throw it to the wide receivers and win games. It's not his job to mentor the potential successor. However, if you are a good teammate, you do take it upon yourself to help out your teammates, because when you're part of a football team, you're part of a brotherhood. When you're trying to win, everybody has to have one common goal, and that goal has to be to win. One team, one goal, everybody united. You can't have a lot of egos. You got to have people who are willing to put their pride to a side for the betterment of the team. And that's what makes this a really tough situation for Ryan Tannehill. You're asking the guy to choose the team over him trying to prolong his career as a starting quarterback. Really tough. And I'm not even going to lie with you. If I was in Ryan Tannehill's shoes, I probably would take the route of helping mentor Malik Willis, because that's the kind of person I am. But it's okay if that's not who Ryan Tannehill is. At the end of the day, this is a business. However, if Ryan Tannehill wants to remain in the NFL for a longer period of time, it would help if he would be willing to mentor some younger quarterbacks. We see Joe Flacco. He's still in the NFL right now because his willingness to help mentor the younger quarterback. And I actually believe that Joe Flacco at a point in time didn't want to help mentor Lamar or something like that. I don't know if it was that particular situation. I do recall there was a situation where I remember Joe Flacco saying something of a similar sentence to what Ryan Tannehill said not too long ago. But at the end of the day, you're asking the guy to choose the team over him, supporting himself and his family. It's really tough, man. So honestly, if you're Ryan Tannehill, like, you see the writing on the wall. And I kind of feel like that's what those comments were kind of echoing. It's like, he kind of sees the writing is on the wall. Like, a lot of fans feel like Ryan Tannehill is holding Tennessee back from making it to the Super Bowl. And you have a fair reason to believe that, because, I mean, Ryan Tannehill is a solid quarterback, you know, but when it comes time to get the job done in the postseason, he shrinks. He doesn't really play all that well. So it's understandable why, when Malik Willis was on the board, Tennessee took the opportunity to go ahead and snag him, because when you have a guy who has this kind of potential, this kind of upside, you give him a year or two to sit back and develop. This is a guy who could essentially take you and your team from over that hump. You're asking, what is it going to take for the Titans to get over the hump? If you are a Tennessee fan, maybe Malik Willis is. Maybe it's the quarterback position, and Ryan Tannehill isn't a bad quarterback. As a matter of fact, he's like a top 12, top 13 quarterback, depending on who you ask. But however, you know, you gotta have that elite quarterback play if you're ever going to ascend over that hump. And for Tennessee, maybe the hump is Ryan Tannehill. Maybe Ryan Tannehill is what's holding this team back from reaching their goals and their aspirations of winning a Super Bowl. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about this down in the comment section down below. Do you guys feel like Ryan Tannehill is in the right with his comments? Do you feel like he doesn't have an obligation to mentor Malik Willis? Or do you guys feel like Ryan Tannehill should do what's in the best interest of the team and put the team above him first and go ahead and mentor his potential successor? Make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.